to you today from the Southern Legend Outdoors Studio, the Be a Legend podcast, brought to you from SouthernLegendOutdoors.com. And now your hosts, Kevin Bearfield, Kerry Nelson, Ken Butler, and Mark Newell. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. It's your time now. Be a legend.
Welcome again to another episode of the Southern Legend Outdoors Be a Legend podcast. Coming to you again tonight from Pontotoc, Mississippi with the crew here tonight. Got all the guys back again this week. Brother Kerry, Brother Mark, Brother Ken.
Yes, sir.
All my brother-in-laws. But Mark, you don't want not family, but you family, man.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We brothers, we just share different parents. So,
Well, it's been a week since we've done this, but ate good again tonight. Tell us about these steaks we ate tonight.
all right. Well,
The details.
I got some friends that I met in a conference. Brother Chad Clanton, your daddy's known him longer than I have, but I met Brother Chad in up around Hickory Flat, and we got to be good friends. He invited me up to his place, got to know all of his people. Big hunters, great men. They have one of the best wild game suppers I've ever been to in my life. And so one of the men is G.W. Cobb and his son Ray. They're the ones that raise the fallow deer that Richard has hanging here on his wall in his room. They let him kill a cull one day. But when this is their third time to come down and hunt with me, and they won't let me feed them. And I don't charge to hunt, and they're not used to going nowhere they don't pay. So they said, well, if you're not going to charge us to come stay at your place, then we're going to bring our own food and feed you. So they told me it's been a month, said that they had a New York strip loin aging, going to bring it down for one night. They brought quail and pheasant, and so tonight we got in on the New York strip, and it was fine.
It was fine. Good.
And then the loin had been aged, and then we soaked it in Allegra and throwed it straight on the grill, and it was really good.
Sure was.
Yeah, it was some really
Think
good
about
eating.
it, we couldn't find enough knives. We used pocket knives and plastic knives.
Deer skin and knives.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's pulling their pocket knife out, and then Brother Mark, I look over at Brother Mark, and I'm like, he's using a knife that just 2 nights ago I skinned the dough with.
Yeah, with a gut hook.
Yeah, with a gun.
And we used it to cut the pie.
There you go.
Yeah, I did use the same knife.
Cut the pie.
We did watch.
Well, the crew we were here with tonight, I actually thought about just picking it up and eating it with my hand.
Yeah, here's
You know,
the thing. The crew that we all sit around with, none of what we just talked about affected anybody.
No.
Yeah. And,
No.
but these guys, man, they're up there close to the CWD, Tennessee. It's not
Yeah.
in their county, and they haven't even had any talk. I asked them when they first got here, and but they big deer hunters, and they raise fallow deer, they raise pheasants, and they take kids. They take a children's home every year. The entire children's home, their church rallies around, comes together, and those men and women take those kids out hunting, and they have them boots, they have them camo,
Wow.
all kinds of stuff. I've been a part of it one
Yeah.
time. I was able to go and help
That's great.
them. So
That's
it's
great.
just-
Yeah, they're great guys. I enjoyed having dinner with them tonight. I think they were going to join us in the podcast, but they got early
Well, they
early
all-
early
yeah,
plans
they're
in the
all
morning,
old.
so they're
They're all old. Brother Chad, he went to high school with Noah,
no.
and he's old. You'll listen to that and call me.
Yeah.
So y'all started they got down. Y'all hunted this morning, and
Yeah, Brother Chad come in and preached for me last night.
yep.
Brother Richard showed his video, his testimony to about 150 youth in Prentice. Is Boonville Prentice?
Yeah.
Prentice County, up at Boonville.
Y'all did that today,
Last night.
last night.
So
Okay.
Brother Chad preached for me, and Brother Josh Sparks led the service, and Brother Chad preached. So they all, Greatest Mission Baptist Church lets us use their ranch house for my hunters.
Right.
So they're staying at the ranch house, and got here at 5 this morning, and it's coming a monsoon at Thaxton.
Mm-hmm.
So we sit here to 6:30, and it quit, and we all went in the woods, and we all seen turkey, but no.
Amen.
Mark, that's a great sign.
Absolutely.
Well,
We do start thinking a lot about turkey about this time of the year.
oh, wait a minute. Next podcast, guess what's on the menu? Turkey. I got a good friend of mine that hooked us up, Brother Mark Newell. You may have heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
He come in tonight bearing gifts. I mean, he thought the Lord had been born, and he come with gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
And fried and wild turkey.
Wild turkey.
Yes.
Is it a Ziploc bag?
Could have been in a Ziploc bag, but I think that it
Three
was
of Ziploc.
three. Speaking of turkey,
Yep.
we need to
Got
talk
a-
about that.
Got a new law this year. The state of Mississippi. Ken sent us the other day.
The Ken's always
We,
sending all this factual stuff.
He
We
sent
will
us.
stay
Yeah,
within the law, of the
Right.
state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
I'm
There's
not
two-
arguing with it. I'm just saying that you sent it.
Yeah, I seen it.
Go ahead.
And there's two new laws actually. So we'll let Ken take it from there. But go ahead.
All right, for the 2019 spring turkey season here in Mississippi, there's a game check system through the Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries. They want us to report our kills by 10 p.m. that night of the kill. And I don't know if y'all have downloaded the app. You can go and download the app, and you can do it. You can report it on the app, or you can do it by paper. I think you can print out some paperwork and you can fill that out. But you can keep all your information right there on your phone. And if you do get checked, you can.
But don't you have to document it before you move it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to call
Don't
it in
you-
before you move it, or what do you do before you move it?
I don't know. Ken, correct me if I'm wrong. It's basically just like Mississippi's probably the only state left that you don't have to do this
Right.
in. Where I hunt in Tennessee and Kentucky, several other
Oklahoma.
states.
Oklahoma, Texas.
When you harvest the bird, you simply write down, when you harvested or whatever, and then there's a little confirmation number, and then by 10 o'clock, you call that number in, and then they will give you a confirmation number, or you can do it on the app, or you can probably go to a website and do it as well.
Right.
But you have to have that confirmation number down. If you have the app, it's already there, and you can just pop the app up,
Yeah.
most likely, and show them
Yes.
the app.
Right.
Some of them you still have. Some states they still want it on paper, but most all of them have the apps, and that makes it everybody's app friendly now, or most everybody is now. Anyhow, and it's really easy. It should be really easy to do.
Yeah, it says by smartphone, the hunter's profile. You
Yeah.
go in and set your profile,
Yeah.
and it'll show the harvest history. And you
But
can have
you got to report it by 10 that night.
Mm-hmm.
What if you get caught with it before 10 that night?
That's between you and the game warden, Kerry.
Well, if you kill,
I'm kidding you.
you have to have, like you said,
You'll
that's-
get a number real quick on your phone. I
But isn't
believe.
that reporting it?
that is reported.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure. I'm not asking. I'm not being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
If
to
you
figure
use
out.
the app, then
You're
that's
done.
all you're using. Yeah, you need to do it then. You'll have it there. But if
Yeah.
you're writing it down on your license, like you killed it, you
Okay.
take the license, take the piece of paper, you put the date and the time, whatever the criteria is there, and you write that on there. You got to do that part before you move it.
That's my
then
Call
he
it
can
in.
check you or whatever. Said, "Yep, I killed this right here." And the reason why they're giving you 10 o'clock because in some places you may not have cell service.
Sure.
So they're giving you
But you got to
to
write something before you move the bird.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Let me read this to you. That
Okay.
kind of explains it.
All right.
It says the record can either be an MDWFP harvester reporting application on a smartphone. That's getting the app and doing everything on it with the hunter's profile and harvest history, or a paper copy of the MDWFP harvested reporting record, or a form improvised by us, the hunter, with all the applicable information on it.
Big
Those
piece
two
of
ways.
paper,
Yeah.
as long as it's written down.
And
Oh, you
have
ain't
your
walking
number.
out with a bird with nothing.
Because when you
Right,
call,
exactly.
when you
That's
call
it.
before 10 o'clock, they're going to give you a number and you write it on your piece of paper. Or when you do it on your smartphone, it's going to automatically present you with a number and you'll have it.
Sure.
But even if you don't have the number when the game warden checks you, you better have the piece of paper
Right.
and you wrote down that you killed it at such time as you're walking.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my point.
It's kind of like
The number's
Brother
not going
Mark
to
does
save
all
you.
the time where he hunts. If on the tag, before you move that deer, you put the tag, you fill out
Yeah,
everything,
yeah,
you
the
put
tag.
it on there, and
Right
then
there.
you're good.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you got cell phone signal, you can do it right there.
Yeah.
Have it from your.
Yep.
Be paperless.
Yep.
Only for the under age 16. If you're younger than 16, you don't have to do it.
Right.
The father
So
or
the
the
key is
guy
that-
has to
You
do
still
it
got
for
to do
you.
it, but you just yeah, I got you.
It counts under the. It goes under the adult.
Right.
Don't count
I
against
guess-
the adult.
No, it doesn't count against.
But he
you.
has
The adult keeping
think
up
you
with
have
it when
to-
it
He'll
takes
be the
it.
one
I guess
in
there's a
trouble.
way for you to report that you have a child
Right.
through the out and
Right.
you know.
It's like you said, we're one of the few states that's not doing it.
Yeah,
so-
you either have this system that they've implemented, or still there's a lot of states that still have the tag system.
Yeah.
But what's cool, I mean, I can go and pull up my Tennessee one, and Tennessee's done it for years. This system, and I can pull that Tennessee app up, and it can go back and show every turkey I've killed, when I've killed it, for the past 5-6 years. It's really kind of neat, and then this will be able to do that, and that's all they're trying to do. The biologists are wanting numbers because they've never had a true harvest number. Used to, they had a system where it was basically the same system, but it was voluntary. You could call them in, and then they even have I can't remember what it's called, a turkey study or something like that, where they was, because we did it at our hunting club down in Kemper County, and back when I was in school, I took care of it. And I remember you just filled these cards out, and you'd turn them in. You know, and all our turkeys that we killed, I'd write their numbers and all that down, send them in to give data. But again, it's all voluntary, and so we've never had any good numbers to work with. Well, how many's killing? You know, and how many's being harvested in the state? I mean, we guess you can find some numbers there, but all it is based
Really
on
no.
it's extrapolated with the small percentage that has turned it in, and they kind of blow it up to, you know, a guesstimate of what they think was killed. So.
And I agree, just like you said last week about the CWD in the state of Mississippi seems to be doing this smart way versus other states what they're doing.
without a doubt.
And even this, I mean, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
You know, make it mandatory. If you're going voluntary, you're not going to get a true number on your
no,
voluntary
No,
report
no, absolutely
system.
not.
And,
What do you think they're? I mean, obviously for research purposes, they're probably doing it, as well as to control abuse a little.
I'm sure.
We're probably going to get, you know, that guy's going to think at least, you know, you're going to think about it
Right.
a little more than just going out now when there's no monitoring system out there in place.
Right.
Before he would exceed that limit.
Right.
And then the next thing, the other new law this year, I don't know if you have it there on your stuff there, Ken, is baiting. There's no
Oh, yeah.
supplemental feed whatsoever. See, in the past, you could legally feed wheat and milo as long as it was broadcast out at a certain rate. Now, obviously, you couldn't hunt over it, but you could have it out for the turkeys. Well, now you can't have anything out during that particular time during turkey
Now,
season.
is this because of the CWD, no supplemental feeding?
No, this was for the turkeys. This was
What do you think
specifically different on that.
why do you think they did that?
I don't know. I mean, there's some thoughts there, but I'm not sure
Right.
why.
I never knew that you could do that to start with.
Yeah, it was when you read the supplemental feeding laws of Mississippi, and there was a bunch of 2 pages in the book when you open it up on, you know, when you could feed for deer and stuff like that, what you could feed at certain times. But then there was a whole section that during, say, February and March or whatever the time frame was, you could, like I said, you could feed milo and wheat. It had to be broadcast at like 50 pounds to the acre or something to that effect. That's the way the wording
I
was
like
written
doing
in
it
there.
so in a dove field.
So, but as long as it was put out that way, but you still couldn't hunt over it, but you could have it out, you know, for quote unquote feeding purpose. But now they've completely taken that out, is what I've read.
That's what I read too. I remember
Yep.
reading it.
Yep. So
And I thought it was for CWD because no supplemental feeding on
No.
your property to start with, just
no,
making it year
this
round.
was
Okay.
a statewide
Wow.
deal. Had nothing to do with the CWD side, but it was basically having, you know, they're trying to, you know, monitor they're really putting a lot of emphasis on turkey management. So trying to keep things level across the board there. Yeah.
So we're hoping our cornfields, planted cornfields, kind of hold on to some corn there.
Food
Yeah.
plots with clover.
Yeah, clover.
Hard to beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would they, you know, just out of curiosity, we're talking about 2 different species here, but from a management standpoint, from a wildlife management standpoint, you would think if we're approaching a place, especially with the technology to do this, everyone knows if you've got that technology in place, this app that they have, you know, the overhead of managing that is cut. I mean, they're going to have very little cost, I guess. There's going to be some upfront expense, but in the long run, they got a system they can use for many years.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure they'll improve it, but you always wonder why maybe other systems are not implemented, and many times it may be because of the cost involved or the implementation. So when we're talking about, again, a totally different species, you would think, especially with our CWD situation, we would see that type of management approach with our deer too.
Yeah. No,
Because
absolutely.
most all of our states around us too are moving to a monitored deer harvest. Why are we not getting on board with doing the same thing?
It'll
with
come.
Yeah,
It'll
I
come.
think so. I think it's
It'll
on
be
the
here.
way.
But it's here. I mean, they got the technology to do it with turkey. You would think we would be hearing, especially with the CWD. I mean, Tennessee has it in place.
I bet you it'll be here
Why
very quick.
this
Well-
fall? Why are you not hearing? Hey, this fall you're going to have to tag and report every.
Yeah, and that's
The technology's there. Is
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying.
definitely
If you
gonna
can do it for a turkey, you can take the same technology and do it for deer. And
Well, see,
then
and-
we get some understanding too of what's happening with the deer harvest.
you just got to train hunters to do this, because Mississippi, I mean, we've never done anything like this. A lot of these other states, the reason why it worked so well with them is before they still had to physically tag them. Like Tennessee, they had to go to check stations and check them in, and that was in hunting culture, that was a big deal. There was people would go to the check stations to see what was brought in. Opening weekend, all right, let's see the big deer. People would hang out at these stores and things. So, so tagging was already in their culture. So when they went to the tagless tagging system, you know, through the phone or through smartphones, calling or the apps, it was a real easy deal, and it was a real easy transition.
Yeah.
But for Mississippi, you know, they have to start somewhere, and they just decided to start with turkeys because they wanted to
Yeah.
monitor it better. And, you know, it's going to still take a little bit, even with this in place, and even though it's mandatory, because I know folks in Mississippi, it's going to take some time for them to be able to do that. And there'll be some tickets wrote, you know, to be sure that that's done. So it's a
There'll be
little
lot
harder.
of guys that don't have a clue.
So right, yeah, I'm just saying it's gonna take,
Yeah.
because our culture, we've never had to do any of that.
Right.
I mean, we just hadn't, but now it is.
That's
so-
why I wondered why just wouldn't be a comprehensive approach up front. Say, okay, we're doing turkey, we're doing deer, we're
Yeah,
doing everything.
no,
you got an
it
app,
needs
you
to
got a tag. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter between the two species. Same thing.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get them both started right now.
Yeah.
But I guess, and they still have, we're in the middle of deer season. They have until the fall to announce that they're going to do the same thing
Oh,
with
they
deer.
definitely
So
could.
they
Very easy.
could
Yeah, I mean,
just-
I'm sure that that's
don't-
already been talked about.
They just broke this out not too long ago with the
Yeah,
turkey
it
sale.
wasn't.
won't
It
take
hadn't been
long.
that long. So
I'll be very surprised if it's not here very quick with the deer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And rightly so.
oh yeah, so
well, I mean, you guys ever watch that show Meat Eater?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all watch that?
yeah.
It's a good guy.
I was watching this show. I had the flu this week, and so I spent a lot of time in bed watching the Outdoor Channel when I was awake and felt like it. But yes, my dad calling. I have to call him back. Call you back, Daddy. Here in a little bit, doing a podcast.
I was going to mention something to him about revival last week, but I
Well,
can
here
let
you
that.
wanna-
I can let that
You can
go.
take that call if you want.
Yeah, tell him. You know,
But,
talking about the flu.
He's pretty. They pretty fascinating about their, the whole approach of the shows. We're meat eaters. We're not just hunting. And so he'll get his kill and he'll eat it right there. This is totally off the wall, but we were talking about eating a while ago. Do any of y'all eat the heart of a deer?
Probably not going to.
No?
They say it's the prime meat.
No, it's not. I eat it. I eat it.
Oh, you have? That's what I'm saying.
I don't
You don't-
eat it,
you
but
don't
I
eat it.
have eaten one piece, and I'm through with it. Yeah.
Well, he killed the deer, and that was like he couldn't wait to get to the heart. And,
Strong.
he just cut it up in.
Strong.
He just cut it up in little steaks, and cut the aorta out. This is the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
If
I
I'm
mean,
starving
all
to
these-
death, yeah, I would eat it, all right? If I didn't have a freezer full of tenderloin and hind quarter and all of that, yeah, I would eat that if I had to. I could eat it.
Yeah.
But when I got all this other to choose from,
So
no, I ain't eating it.
Well, you're the only man sitting here at the table that's eaten some. I just thought.
I've eaten.
I thought,
Question.
man, have I been missing out? Because I mean,
No.
out of all that, he put the back strap to the side and ate the heart. And I thought,
Does it
Man,
taste like chicken?
No.
no,
Okay,
I
I mean,
can tell
that's
by
the
looking
question.
at it, it didn't taste like chicken.
It's real. It's just very strong. It's very strong. Very strong.
How did you eat it?
It was fried, just like any other piece of my brother-in-law cooked something. He eats it. But he's crazy. But anyhow,
He likes it.
he said he does.
We all got them brother-in-laws.
Yeah, boy. You looking at two of them?
Who's yours?
Well, you won't have this one cooking a heart for you. I
There you
promise
go. Well, that guy from Alabama the other day, that's what they wanted to know. Do you want to say? I'm sitting here thinking, where if I heard when the boy killed his first little deer,
Yeah.
from Alabama, the guy asked me, he said, "Now, do you save the heart?" I'm as green as an apple. I thought I didn't know what he was talking about. Do you save the heart for what? I guess he's talking about eating it. I'm gonna call him up after this show and ask him,
I'm
"Do you
telling
eat
you.
deer heart?"
Yeah.
Well, I was so intrigued by it. I'm like you. I thought, where have I been?
Yeah, go on, cut you some.
Have I missed all these years of hunting?
You
And
might
we
like it.
we have never talked about eating the heart.
I ain't missed a thing.
Next
And I-
podcast, me and you,
I
fried
look,
turkey, deer heart.
I can promise you
I'll
this.
take the turkey.
I can promise you this. I'm gonna do it.
You gonna try it?
Oh yes, sir. I'm going to.
What if it tastes like
The
sushi?
next-
Okay, wait a minute. This comes from a guy
I know it,
that
man.
will not eat sushi.
No, this comes from a guy that we've
I won't
known
eat
for
sushi
years.
either, all right?
Yeah, but we've known him for years. If it touched on his plate, he
wouldn't-
sent it back to the kitchen.
Sure
You
did.
got that right.
I ordered mac and cheese by itself,
That's right.
and he's talking about eating deer heart.
I'm going to.
We're gonna film that live.
I'm a meat eater.
We can make that happen though. If he wants deer
You're a
heart,
meat
we're gonna
eater.
give him-
You had the flu. You wondered, did that go to your head? You want to eat a deer heart, man?
Hey, he wants deer heart. We'll get him deer heart.
Next deer I kill, I'm
You could- I
taking
mean-
the heart myself. And
I'd be scared I'd cut the liver out and not think it was
Now
a heart.
here's one
It
thing.
ain't much difference because I've eaten both.
Ooh, I love liver.
I don't know what the heart.
You may like it.
I love liver.
It's a little tougher than
Yeah, well, it
liver,
ain't moving,
but
but
it
I
has
got it
it's that
with-
It's kind of got a
strong
liver.
flavor.
I
Yeah.
love liver. If it tastes like liver, I won't ever not eat a deer heart again.
Yeah, you can have it. You can have all of mine.
Well, I'm just
Ain't that
afraid
idea?
I've been missing out. So I mean, I'm sitting there. I don't have anything else to do. I've got the flu. So I began then to spend some time on YouTube, kind of researching this.
Oh boy,
And-
we got heart
He
recipes.
got deer heart recipes, man.
Oh, I've got one.
I know.
We done put two and two together.
Yeah.
I got to get some red wine. I don't know.
Well, there we go. Two preachers and preacher's son.
We gonna film that too.
Hold on.
He's going in the liquor store getting some wine.
Kid, you're gonna have to come up with
Brother
that.
Ronnie. Hey, Brother Ronnie.
Kid's gonna have to come up with that.
You want some wine? I'll bring you some wine.
Oh, man. Well,
man.
I'm just saying that that was in the recipe.
Bucks will take
I-
a
they
money.
cook
Boy,
it
this
out.
ain't scripted. That's for
Bucks
sure.
that big around on them. Bucks will take a money.
Hey, he's killed some
Well-
deer, feed a whole country.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
He the way he cooked it, he cut the aorta, which is the top. He said you got to take all the white, anything that's white, which is fat. But he said the fat around the heart is the worst fat that a deer has. So you got to get all that out. He cut it up.
Fat.
Yeah, he cut it out into little steaks, put it in a frying pan, two cuts of butter, about a half a butter stick, garlic, onions, salt, pepper, and about a minute and a half on one side, flip it, minute and a half on the other. He said you got to eat it rare to medium rare. He said if you overcook it, throw it away. So that might have happened to yours.
Oh, he's
You
trying to
taking
talk
your
you
head.
in take another bite. What he just did.
I just think we should do it one night.
I'm for it.
Why not
Oh,
try?
are we
Well,
doing it
got
next
to
time?
lose.
I promise you tomorrow I'm
So-
killing deer just for a deer heart.
If you go on YouTube,
Don't
you're
shoot
gonna
behind the
find
shoulder.
people that
Don't mess
that
the heart
live.
If I shoot it, your heart's no good.
Gotta shoot a little high. Gotta shoot high shoulder. Gotta
Hey.
shoot high shoulder.
There's one guy.
Can't shoot behind the shoulder. Gotta shoot high shoulder.
This is
Yep.
great, man.
Listen,
Everybody listening to this. Everybody's listening.
People done went crazy.
Everybody listening to this right now, you've already Googled deer heart recipes. Acknowledge it. Text us. I know you have. I'm texting people right now. Have you ever ate a deer heart? God is my witness.
so this one guy on YouTube.
Oh boy,
I'm serious.
this man
So
don't
his
need to
deal
get
is
sick no more.
by the time he cuts the top half off, which is the valves coming out, you sure can't eat those valves. I mean, you can tell.
is that
so
kinda
at
like
the very
gizzards?
top. So if you, it's kind of like imagine like an apple, kind of elongated apple, possibly. So you just cut the very top off where the stem, just chop it off, and that's going to get those valves out.
The pickiest eater
Listen.
I've ever seen
People
in my
have
life.
no clue.
He's talking about cutting valves out of something. He's
Out of
just
a deer
an
heart.
idiot.
Oh, ask my wife. I put her to sleep last night talking to her about it.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
and she thought I was crazy too.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it looks good, man.
Yeah.
It
Go on,
it
eat
really
it.
does
Let's go,
look
let's
good.
try it.
Get with
But
it.
this
Y'all
one
kill
guy on
deer, won't
YouTube,
save the
listen,
heart.
no joke. So he gets the deer in the field, guts him, reaches in there, gets the heart, cuts the heart out. So you think about the apple. If you're gonna cut the top off,
Oh, boy.
and when you're filleting it, apparently he's thinking that bottom piece where it just kind of rounds off at the bottom, he's not going to be able to cook that anyway. You know what he does with that? Right there in the
Feeds the
field,
dog.
takes a bite of it right there raw. He says it's still hot. He said you can eat that meat
No,
straight
he can.
right there in the field.
Martin
He-
Newell ain't eating it. I ain't going to tell you
Go,
that right
go to
now.
YouTube and you'll see it. Just put in.
He's
deer
going to be
heart-
the
deer
first
heart.
case of human CWD. I got news for you. You're going to say, what killed him, CWD? How'd he get him? He ate the bottom of the deer heart while it's still in the field.
Yeah. The next thing it'll be his brains, right?
Yeah, this
Okay.
I've seen others do that as well. Eat it
Josh
right into
Ramsey and
the-
his family have never eaten a deer heart, so that knocks it out. I'm telling you, if it's ever been ate, this bunch is ate it.
They said
They have not.
they have not.
I have not. Would if it was cooked for me.
I think we need
Okay.
to try it.
well, let's try it.
I done tried it.
Let's give it a try.
I'm out. So y'all go ahead. I'm gonna eat the
they
fried
just
turkey.
didn't. They just didn't cook it right for you.
I'm finna text the people from Alabama. Y'all, you deal with it. Billy Gibson.
That last trip to Texas, I brought only tenderloins back with me, so I ain't finna eat no heart. It's worth eating one. All seriousness,
Yeah.
if it again, it's not the worst thing to eat in the world. It is a meat, and I'll eat any kind of meat. That's
So the
not
heart's a
man.
meat. Let's talk about that.
You
It's a
know,
muscle.
It's
so
a muscle.
Your heart's
It's a muscle.
a-
It's a
it's a
big
muscle.
muscle. It's
Yeah.
so
It works harder than any muscle on that deer.
Well, I know. I just never thought about eating heart unless you
Yeah, I know.
was a cannibal
Yeah.
or coyote.
It's like a, some of those guys on YouTube. I mean, it's like the prime.
It ain't prime.
That's what I'm just
It
saying
ain't
that-
prime. It ain't nowhere near prime. They lying to you when they saying prime. But
They in the field in the rough.
they ain't no.
He's ate them.
Until the guy on Meat Eater did it, never heard of it,
I mean,
never seen it.
Okay, we're talking
Somebody
about
needs to mail
Hollywood,
him an
too.
apple.
He
So,
made tacos out of his.
So
Sorry, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Ken Barrett talking about deer heart tacos.
Again, the pickiest
pickiest
eater I've
eater.
ever seen.
I know.
Now this goes back to the Christmas and Thanksgivings when we eat,
Yeah.
and he don't want no food touching anything.
And,
I mean, like,
and I've seen him. I've been with him out to eat when he told them specifically, "This is how you bring it out." They don't bring it out, and he's like, "You," and it ain't like, "Ma'am, did you?" He's like, "Hey, you take this back. It's not what I want."
I mean,
Deer heart tacos. This come out of left field.
It looked
it
good.
really surprised me. It really has.
Did
let's
you
try
by
it. Let's
chance
do it.
go to the doctor?
no.
There is some long-term effects to this flu. You have flown. That's what you did. You got the flu and you flown. But I got news for you, everybody in the podcast world. We shall eat deer heart.
So seriously, tomorrow, when y'all kill a deer,
Get the heart.
get the heart for
Oh,
him,
yeah.
put it in a Ziploc bag.
I'm soaking that sucker in ice.
Yeah. Let's save it and let's cook it next time with.
We
No,
could
it's
eat
gonna
it
be
live
nowhere
on the
close
podcast.
to the turkey.
And we will eat
We
it
can eat
live,
it
on,
live
the
on the
podcast.
podcast.
And then when everything goes silent, everybody will know we all hit a restroom somewhere on the premises.
Oh me.
Well, I purposefully didn't bring this up until the podcast because I thought it'd be an interesting
Well, it has.
discussion.
Yes, it
If
is.
you get sick next week, I cannot wait to hear what we're going to discuss. That is the funniest thing.
I don't know.
But when you try, I will say this: when you did try sushi the other night,
Hang
I
on.
mean, it shocked me.
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I know. I didn't. You don't have to leave.
I gotta get something to drink.
Well, bring me a sun drop.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
So Kevin, what about the ducks in the Delta? Is it
It's
still?
just- it's bad, man. It's bad. I talked today, and actually, speaking of, we were talking about Howard earlier. I called Howard this afternoon. I know they're right up from us. They're not far. Of course, our place is close to Itabena, and he's right up the road there. And he said he's having a bad year. I haven't talked to anybody that's having a good year. We've also hunted up a little further north, Crenshaw, Sarah area, and in the northern part of the Delta there. And it's just had one good hunt. We've had one good hunt there, and I don't know. One of the guys there that's hunted every day of duck season since he was 5 years old sent me a text and just said, "Worst I've ever seen." Is how he described it.
Well, it was a perfect storm not to have ducks. One, you don't have the temperatures, and two, there's so much water everywhere.
Yeah.
So whatever ducks did come down, they're all spread out.
Spread
like
out.
crazy. So there's no
Yeah.
rhyme or reason, for them having. And most of your ducks are still in. Most of them are still in.
Canada. I mean,
Yeah,
they're a
northern
lot-
Missouri. I mean, that's
I mean,
kind of where.
but, I mean, their reports showing. I've been looking online. I mean, there's still a lot of ducks in Canada. I mean, it's
Yeah.
in the far north.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, the main push has not made it down.
It's not.
So
I hate to
Right.
interrupt, but I went and I knew if there's anybody in this house ever ate deer heart, it'd be the Cajun.
All right, we're bringing that back.
Okay,
So
here.
look,
Does
we'll
he
pick
eat
back
some?
up on the duck hunt.
Yeah,
but
we'll have to get on the duck
we
hunt.
got a special
Brother
guest.
Josh
that's
Adams.
joined us, Brother Josh Adams.
Yes,
Have you ever eaten deer heart?
many times.
Oh wow!
See,
sit
It's-
down, deer heart.
It's
Delicious. It's a
on.
muscle.
It's on.
It's a muscle.
I love it.
None of y'all's ever ate it?
No, but we do tell, my brother. What say ye?
It's the bomb. fry it
Okay.
with a little cornmeal and flour, with a little Tony Chachere's. We kill one. We'll fry it up for you.
Really?
Really?
Y'all didn't go back there and script this.
You know what I said? I walked in the kitchen to get you a sun drop. Everybody was sitting in there. Y'all were still talking about duck hunting, of which I could care less about. So I told Eli, I said, make your plans. Your Uncle Kevin's funeral's next week. And he said, what? I said, he apparently is finna die. Because the pickiest eater I know, is talking about eating deer heart. And Josh says, it's the bomb. I said, what?
It's
He
delicious.
said, it's delicious. And Mark Newell says,
It's a muscle.
I know.
I told you.
Mark
It's edible.
Mark says he's eating it, but he shall not eat it again.
But the guy
Depends on who cooked it.
But I was going to say the guy that that I'm getting my information from on YouTube. I don't want.
That's real reliable.
Yeah.
The internet.
But-
I mean, come on. What could go wrong
But
with
he just said you got to eat it rare to medium rare.
Yep.
If you he says it's not like any other meat that you overcook.
Right.
A lot of meat, standard beef, you overcook it, you can eat it and you can flavor it, you can dip it in ketchup or whatever, and you can still get it down. But he said not this meat. You cannot
Gotta eat it medium
overcook the heart. You got to eat
All
it
right, so
rare to
let's
medium
talk.
rare.
So it's no different than the hind quarter.
No, it really.
I'm talking about as far as it being a muscle.
All right.
No,
Or from the start to
It's a
finish.
tough- right.
Give us start to finish.
I love
start to finish. You slice it about a half-inch thick. Make you an egg wash and milk wash.
You cut the top where the
Yes.
valves are.
Correct.
Remove all the white.
Yeah.
Cut all the fat
all the
out.
tissue, and
cut
it
all the
looks just
valves.
like a piece of meat.
Just
filet.
all red.
all red.
It's filet min heart.
Filet
That-
and heart. It's good. And so you make an egg wash. You put egg and milk in a bowl. Scramble the egg up. Dip the heart down in it. We take half cornmeal, half flour. Put Tony Chachere's in the flour and cornmeal. Dip it in on each side. After it come out of the egg wash, so it'll stick to it. Throw it in a hot iron skillet. Fry it till light golden brown on that side. Flip it to that side, light golden brown. And it's unbelievable.
Oh, it'd
Thing
be
that
on-
guy did, except he threw red wine on top of his while he cooked it.
Well, I'm sure down in Louisiana, ain't no time they'd go back in the woods and come out with something in a canister.
It's delicious.
Here's
It's
what I'm
delicious.
saying, Josh. When you got a freezer full of tenderloin, then why am I taking time
Well,
messing with
You
the
got to understand that everybody don't kill as many deer as you do.
Some of us rely on the heart.
What about the liver?
No,
You ate the liver?
Stir fry it with onions.
that's just ignorant.
Deer liver.
Deer liver.
I don't know.
Ain't that
It ain't. I'll be honest with you. It ain't
You're going to
good.
eat the heart, but not the liver.
I like chicken liver. I'll eat chicken
You're
liver.
such a picky eater.
Deer liver ain't chicken liver. I can tell you
No,
that.
it's not as good as the heart. Promise you. But I've tasted it.
But the heart's good.
The heart's delicious. I promise.
No,
It's
we're going to
cooked
find
right.
out, and we're going to let the
find out.
world know.
Yeah.
Should that be the Facebook Live video?
I don't know, 'cause I'm afraid that
I think we
I'm
should
afraid
do
of
that.
what's going to happen after we take a bite. Do we want that?
I mean,
It ain't gonna hurt you.
Well, I know
No,
what's
I'm
going to
just
happen.
talking
When I
about-
take
Well,
a
when
bite
you
of it,
see
if it's
it,
good,
I'm telling you, it looks good. It's
Okay, I'm game. Listen, I have eaten things in third world countries that
I
make
mean,
a
dog
dog
made it
vomit.
look good, but from a distance.
I've eaten that too.
You've eaten what?
Dog in the Philippines.
Missionary in the Philippines,
Yeah.
he definitely ate Chinese.
Okay, now it's coming out. Now we,
Now we know why
now
he
we
ate
know.
that heart.
It's-
Daddy ate horse meat in France. Were you with him on that trip?
No, sir. No, sir. I haven't been to France with him. I've been to.
How did this podcast go in this
I
direction?
don't know, but I'm
yo,
liking it.
jump.
yeah, yo,
I brought it up. Didn't I?
I'm gonna listen to it. I'm a faithful listener. Richard said it was full of protein. That's his exact word. He's got a brain injury.
It's correct.
He said he never eat it, but he said protein.
I'm just
lots
glad
of
that.
iron.
I'm just glad that
If you're
Josh, you
anemic,
validated
eat that.
Yeah, I promise. We'll try it. I'll cook it for you.
This week on Southern Legend.
Praise God, I'll be in Las Vegas next week.
I'll be in Alabama next week, so we can't eat it next week.
Oh darn!
But I bet you,
gonna
I
do
bet
it
you
one
where
day.
I'm gonna be, they've ate deer heart. David Phillips.
Oh yeah.
I bet you'll ask from here on out. Once
Everybody, I'm finna send it out to every contact I got, even people in Belize. They ain't even got deer.
we'll put it like this: we
Let's
ate
just
New York
make sure
strip, aged New York strip loin tonight.
Wow.
I'm not going from that to deer. I'm going to tell you, I'm not.
I mean, you
taking
can't-
about- I'm not taking that route.
Damn.
I mean, have y'all not ever watched Meat Eater?
That's where he got it.
That's
about.
exactly where I heard
That's
it.
a whole conversation. Where have you been? We should have let you stay in here.
I told him to stay.
Well, here's the
Oh,
difference. I
man.
guess they're in the wild and they campfire and they're cooking it.
Well, it's like where Josh lives down in Louisiana. You know, that's how they live. Now.
Really no running water power.
Joe and Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't wait. So y'all kill a deer this week.
Oh, there's gonna be some deer killed. So
save-
season's over. in a few
Save
days.
the
Save
heart
the
for
heart.
me, Clark.
I'm gonna
Get
have
it.
a freezer full of heart.
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna put them in the heart of my
Matter of
freezer.
fact, there's a carcass
My turkey breast.
out there. Does it still have the heart in that bucket?
It's
out
been there a day or so.
It's been there a day or so.
I will tell you this, and I'm glad Brother Josh is here talking about people from Louisiana. At our hunt club in Kemper County, I mean, I done killed a deer, and like it's in the gut bucket. In the gut bucket. Dude comes in there, cuts the heart out, cuts the liver out, cuts what was left of the lungs out, took them straight into the camp house and started cooking. I'm sitting there looking at him like, it's in the gut bucket. Oh, it'll be all right. Kid you not. And I'm like, I ain't going in that camp. So I went on to the house. that is a true story. That
I
is
believe
no
it.
lie whatsoever.
Wow.
In the gut bucket, and there's deer under it from who knows how long, but this was in the gut
Well,
bucket.
after you get the oil hot and heats it up,
Oh,
it
yeah,
kills all
yeah,
the
it cut all that
CWD.
out.
Oh, yeah.
CWD's
I mean,
gone.
I can eat like anybody else can. My stomach's trying to hurt a little bit on me. Listen to all this.
Gut bucket and
Gut
hearts
bucket and hearts and lungs. And
you know, I don't know that
Tongues
I don't
and-
know that he, knowing him and how picky he's been.
He
all
ain't
that,
gonna do
he's
it.
Set, no, he probably, but I think he's setting us up to see if we would, and then the joke's gonna be, ain't nobody ever ate a deer heart. We're the first person that's ever ate it.
No.
No, it's for
I
real.
told you that's what Meat Eater is where I got it from. I'm eating it. I'm gonna do it
Yeah, I am.
because my wife thinks I'm crazy, and I'm just.
will you eat deer sushi?
Oh, yeah.
Carrie made some deer
Here's-
sushi.
This thing I gotta
Tenderloin
understand
sushi.
about meat.
No, we got to throw that sucker on a frying pan.
He did.
I can't eat. I'm picky about like.
Texture.
Well, a little bit texture, but vegetables. Like I don't like green.
Different texture.
You know, so that avocado. That's the thing with the sushi for me.
Oh man,
And I
I
don't like raw. I can't eat like raw meat. So
You said something about
but
eating a
that-
raw
I don't-
heart.
no, he said
Nah,
that guy did.
I said
don't
that
think-
guy did.
Oh,
I
okay.
said I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a guy on YouTube, and you know
I've
you
seen
cut the
several
top and the bottom
Yes.
part. He just bites it off and chews it right, eats it.
He said
right
it was
there in
still
the field.
warm.
So yeah,
A little rare.
but that's the whole thing about it. You know, I don't honestly know of a meat I don't like. I've never found a meat I didn't like, so I'll eat.
There's
Talking about the liver. I mean, I'll
not
eat it.
like there's not any meat that I won't eat. I'll put it that way. There's some that I definitely didn't like.
There you
Yeah.
go.
But to come right out and say that, oh, it's the best cut on the deer. Now, come on. I mean, really, now we pushing it there.
Well, I
Now,
didn't
is
say
it
this.
edible? Is
Yeah.
it? No, I've heard people say, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
the
you've
best.
heard
Oh,
them say that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
no, that's just
Well, it's
strange.
right in the
They got-
middle of the sweetmeat.
You
The
know,
one that the yeah,
So you know,
it
it's the heart of the matter.
Well, it made for a better show, I'm sure. Is why
Oh,
he
I'm
did
sure
that
it
right
did.
there. I mean, the guy,
Eating a
you
heart
know,
like
you're
an
thinking
apple,
people-
you're gonna get somebody.
Yeah,
tuned in.
everybody's
10
gonna
inches
stop and
from
watch
the
that.
sweet
Ain't
meat
doing
is
that
3
on my
foot from
show.
the hind quarter.
But most of the guys on there treat it more like a delicacy. Like that's maybe it's not the prime, but it's a delicacy. And this one guy, he was promoting it like for you Valentine. What you do for your girl for Valentine. I'm
yeah,
serious.
that ain't happening.
Nice Louisiana stuff right there.
It comes straight from the swamp.
Yeah, they tell you from Thibodeau and Boudreaux.
I kid you-
Valentine.
I kid you not.
Valentine, hey my love.
Maybe that's why he
You
threw,
see
This
Maybe-
guy's life on YouTube.
maybe that's why he threw the red wine in it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
she done drank 6 bottles before she.
Besides red wine.
What I've heard though
Where
is
is this
a bear. Is it
podcast
the
I'm
liver?
sending you
This
the link.
of a bear, the liver in that delicacy or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I always heard. It's like real expensive.
The guys that eat the heart on the deer, they say is like getting in touch with the nature
That's
or
it.
something.
That's
about,
exactly what the
it's
guy.
the heart of that deer, and that was what was its drive, and they feel like leaving it out there is.
Well, they should eat the hoof. Praise God, that's how he got around.
Boil it up.
Boil it up. I did
Yeah,
eat
they'll
a chicken.
boil
I ate a chicken foot in Belize the other day.
Yeah, the old boy on Meat Eater. That was exactly what how he ended the show was. You eat the heart of the deer, and hopefully, you'll receive the attributes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was
right.
help me out here. It's that deer. It's a form of a whitetail in Arizona. Coo. Yeah. Coos. Coos.
That's it.
Coos deer. Yeah.
Coos there. Coo. Ate the coos.
And so they're real hardy. They're in a very, just a crazy region.
Sagegrass everywhere.
No, it's real rocky.
desert.
Not a lot.
Desert.
Mostly desert. Real mountainous. A lot of where you see more like mountain goats and that kind of terrain. So he thinks that. I don't know. He thought he was going to get the attributes of that coos deer by eating its heart.
Good luck with that.
Go figure. I don't know, man.
All right, let's
Back to
let's
duck
talk
hunting,
about
I
something
guess.
real. No.
Back to duck hunting.
Oh yeah, I interrupted
Ain't
duck hunting
Yeah.
with something.
But y'all have had good luck.
We've
Ken,
had-
at
we've
your
had some
point.
good luck.
I don't know.
We're
we
going in the
talked
morning.
We talked about that,
Yeah.
but the guys here, we keep saying it, kind of in the wooded area of North Mississippi, and catch some migration.
Just pull this up.
You guys are retaining, and there's not as much water here. Like Brother Mark said, it is a, in the Delta where there's so much water, they are spread thin. Up here, our water doesn't seem to be as, even though we're getting the same amounts of rain, it's a different terrain. So that aspect of it's not affecting
Yeah.
the local ducks in the northeastern part of our state as much as it would over in the Delta.
Right.
But y'all had good.
We've killed some ducks, but I mean, we're not seeing a whole lot. But what we are seeing, they're coming in.
Yeah.
We went the other morning and we killed 3 Canadians and 4 ducks the other morning. And I was deer hunting this afternoon. Had 25 Canadians lighting the hole. Had mallards in the hole. So we'll see. We're going in the morning. We'll try them out. We'll give a report next week.
Well, it's got to happen soon, or it's not going to happen.
When's the season over for Mississippi?
The
27th.
yeah,
But I know a group.
And
We
we're
talked about Howard. They went
Yeah.
to him and Brent and John Scott
went to Arkansas.
and went to Arkansas, and all that flooded. I don't think they killed a duck while they were there, but I mean, they in the past they've just loaded up.
Yeah,
So I don't think they killed a duck. They had a big time,
Yeah.
but didn't kill a duck going all that work and
Do they duck hunt in Louisiana?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
oh yeah.
Tons.
Tons.
Yeah.
So
Lake
what?
Providence.
So what about? Have you heard in y'all's area?
Same goes.
It's just the South.
They're not seeing the
It's
boats.
just pretty much the South. They're just not coming
Yeah, I
in.
mean, we just haven't had the cold weather to push them down, and maybe, golly, I mean, everybody's talking because there ain't no hunting going on.
Yeah.
It's mostly talking about it, and
Yeah.
the more you talk about it, it just gets even more frustrating. But again, like I was saying, Reed said, a good friend of mine, he said, worst I've ever seen. And this is a guy who lives for the sport. It's just you're not getting the cold weather. Now we had a good snow across all Missouri, Illinois, last week, and then they've just gotten one out of this front that moved through. Then there's going to be another big snow that's coming through this weekend that's going to hit from Arkansas, Missouri, all the way across, and we're dropping down into the low 20s. So, but is there enough time left?
Yeah.
You're talking about a migration, and that happens over a period of time. I just don't know that we're not too little, too late to see any real results.
What did Mark say last week? We can plan for a deer. We can do different things to attract a migratory bird.
You can set the best table in town and not have a single duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
You cannot control anything that only winters.
Yep.
If they're only wintering then you can't control what's going on. Because if they're not here, you can't control them. When, you know, most of the time that they spend in Canada, literally 1,000 miles away, can't control it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
And that's a killer for guys who put all their investment into a single location. And I've talked with every guy in our camp today. And, you know, some of them are like, hey, I'm ready just to start putting myself in a position where I have more flexibility. If we don't have ducks in Mississippi, I can go up and hunt public land in Missouri or
Arkansas.
and take my money out of what I'm spending on a lease here, because then I can move. I can go to Kansas.
A lot of people
Or
are
I can go to
doing that.
Texas.
If I was a duck hunter, this is exactly what I would do, because you just get, if you're really doing it right and you're planting all these duck holes and you're spending money on water control so you can flood things, and you're spending all of this, and you have a year like this, I mean, you've just tanked a whole bunch of money for no return on the investment that you've made. And here's the thing with ducks as well, and this is coming from
me.
This is coming from a man,
telling
you know, I mean, I sell seed, I also manage properties, and I do all of this. When it comes to ducks, you know, what you put into it, it's very, very little return. Even when you have ducks, it's very little return. Even just hunting native floodwaters, it's not that much better. Now with deer and turkeys, the more you put into it, it's a huge return on that. You can see the differences. With ducks, you don't see as big a return on the stuff that you put in for it. And there's a lot of guys that say, hey, I want to plant this, I want to plant that, and I look at their property, I look at the situation, and I'm like, look, that native smartweed or that native whatever that's there is just as good as anything you're going to be able to plant. So, and I told them not to plant anything, and they shot just as many ducks as they ever had.
Yeah.
So I said, will you have more ducks? Maybe a little bit, but you're not going to see a big differences, and that's the difference in ducks, say anything else.
Yeah.
So if it was me, I mean, and with ducks, other than say deer and turkeys, there's an awful lot of public land from Mississippi north that's pretty darn good hunting. You know. So, but anyway, and you should do the same thing. There's an awful lot of, I know in Kansas, there's a ton of farmers that, man, have at it, go shoot them ducks. Or if you give them $100 and you're good to go, you know. I'm just saying there's more opportunities for that up through that way than it is, say, your traditional deer and turkey hunt.
Yeah.
So
Risk for reward is totally
absolutely different. Yes, absolutely. So
and it again, like you're saying, you're totally dependent on Mother Nature.
Sure.
And deer hunting, we're also dependent, but it comes and goes.
Sure.
And we're going to have the rut regardless of if we have cold weather or not.
Yeah,
which is going to help. It's going to help us as we're trying to harvest those bucks. But it's discouraging. And like you said, man, you put duck hunting is an expensive sport.
It's the most expensive.
Just to gear up.
It's the most expensive.
You're just going to spend a lot of money, and then everything. The guys in the Delta are making as much money from their farm property off of duck hunting that in some places as they are off of their crop.
Sure.
I mean, it's changed. A lot of money, and clubs are getting outrageous. It's getting to a point where guys, I think, are going to start getting real creative about trying to figure out how to leverage that risk.
Sure.
To create more flexibility to get a better reward.
That's what it's all about.
I mean, that
It's
was
just
one
like,
of the guys today was saying, we were talking to, he's like, if I could take the money I spent this year and knowing the amount of ducks that we've killed and put that into paid hunts, he's like, I could have gone to Kansas. I could have gone to Arkansas on 3 hunts. I could have done, I wouldn't be hunting every weekend, but I could have gone on some really nice paid hunts. And I had to agree with him. But on the flip side, I look back at last year, and we had an outstanding year last year. And I said, this year, I'd cash in a heartbeat at this point in the season. Say, give me my money back. Let me go on a couple of paid hunts here to finish out the year. go north and get in where the ducks are. But last year I wouldn't have made that trade because the way we hunted in January last year, I wouldn't have traded for all those. So, but a year like last year may be one in every 5 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start looking at that over a longer period of time, you start saying, hey, it's a gamble.
Well, the thing is, last year it was so good. I mean, you could have went anywhere and shot some ducks. I mean, there was properties that I have that I've never seen ducks on, and there'd be ponds and stuff just loaded with ducks. I mean, that was just one of those years that, I mean, I can go right there and just slam them. Of course, I don't duck hunt fair. I mean, I let them light on the water, then I shoot them. Forget that. Why don't you shoot them flying? I mean, you can line, Brother Josh lined several of them up, get 4 or 5 in one shot.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, that's just
yeah.
nonsense. I don't understand y'all's. Anyway, because I've done that before, and because some of the guys I'll go duck hunt said, "Now look, are we trying to kill stuff? Or are we trying to be sportsmen?" So I'm just putting it out here. Are we going to shoot them flying and do all of this? Wait a minute, let's take them bullcrap. Or are we going to kill some ducks?
Let
Now,
them
if we
lie.
want to kill some, we're going to line some up.
Just let them light, line them up, I say.
Yeah.
And let's bring them to my house and
we're
have
good.
them fried deer hard. I'll make
We're
them
duck
some.
hunting. We're
I
not
just
duck
like-
shooting.
How big is a duck heart?
I like killing them.
It can't be big.
So that's just me.
It's gonna be
Another
But I'm
thing,
not
another thing, Mark. We better be in the woods between now and 31st, right? Deer hunting, because they're trying to feed. They're gonna look for food.
This is my favorite time of the year
Oh,
to
yeah,
hunt in
me
Mississippi to kill a big mature deer. And this is my favorite time of the year. I have 1 buck left in Mississippi to shoot, and that's why you was asking me if you hunt. I said, look, I got 1 deer that I'm shooting, and I'm not shooting anything else but that deer. And it's not gotten right. I didn't want to pressure it. Next week, he's going to be hunted. Yeah. So from then on, from next week to the end of the season is a good chance. And the reason why it's so good, number one, those bucks are getting hungry, really hungry. They've got to eat now because they've been chasing. But also in Mississippi, we still got some rutting activity, so you have the best of both worlds. He's got to come and eat something, but also he's on his feet looking for that last doe or whatever, as well. So it's just a perfect storm. During the onset of the rut, he really don't have to eat. He's already bulked up, he's built up.
Yeah.
But for the second part of the rut and the end of the rut, he's got to eat. So if you've got a good food system set up, then he's got to at least come and eat and also look for does as well. So you got both.
And there's less food options at this point in the year,
Absolutely.
so you're more likely to draw him out into that open
Absolutely.
food plot.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's been unusually. I can report for our place. I spent all last Saturday, for the most part, helping a boy that works for me some. Let him hunt, and he called and said he shot a good 8 point, 9 point, he thought. And we went out and we spent a good better part of the day looking for him, and we couldn't find him. Come to find out, he missed him, and because he went back Wednesday, and he's texted me and said he saw the same deer he missed again, and one even better. And so that's unusual for our place this time of the year, because our rut pretty solid 15th through the 30th of December. Might dip over into January a little bit, but this is a little late action that we don't normally see. So I think it's a good time to be out and to be hunting. A lot of hunters give up at this point. A lot of hunters give up at this point in the season, but I agree with you. I think now's the time to be out there.
And when I even hunted home a lot, I didn't start hunting until Christmas. All that stuff before then, I mean, of course, you're a little further north, so it's a little different. But the week before Christmas through January is when you'd hunt. All that other was just, if you want to go shoot a doe, fine, or whatever, fine. So, and when you have small properties, you have to think about this. It's all about pressure. If you're trying to shoot a mature deer, and you're a 4-year-old plus deer, it's all about the pressure. So why put the pressure on them when they're not moving much during daylight anyway?
Yeah.
So let that pressure go down. Wait till you get, prime movement, then go in, and then that's when you can just be so much more successful in the woods. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, guys, it's been a been a good podcast. Appreciate y'all.
Yep, appreciate
all
Brother
coming out
Josh
tonight.
joining
Thank
in.
you. Yeah, Brother Josh joining us.
From the
And,
bottom of our heart, we appreciate it.
this will definitely be the Deer Heart episode,
Yep.
and
Now, part one.
part one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have
The
part
heart of a
chomp,
legend.
after you chomp down on the
We'll have part two when he's eating it.
Part two
I
is
like
when
that.
he crunches.
I like it, brother.
Heart of a legend.
I can't wait to see his face when he bites down on that heart.
See, Mark, you'll be in Vegas next week, right?
Yep. SHOT Show is next week, so that's
Yeah.
the biggest outdoor shooting sports show in the world. We'll be there. So. We did not go to ATA, which was last week, which is the Archery Trade Association. So we got to really get to work on. We do a lot of the sponsor relations stuff.
Yeah.
There'll be different dinners and things that we need to be a part of, and a lot of cool stuff to be around. A lot of people there, and Vegas is Vegas. I mean, I absolutely despise Vegas. It ain't for a country boy from Mississippi. I can just tell you that. So, so I don't care anything about that. But there's a lot of people there. Look forward to seeing. Look forward to. We have some really good manufacturers that sponsor us, that we work with, that are really, really good people, and I look forward to seeing those guys. So.
Awesome. But Kerry, you'll be.
I'll be in Alabama.
Alabama.
With Dowie. Be deer hunting, actually. Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, and Saturday morning. Friday night, I'll be doing a wild game supper. So I'll be hunting with Richard, and Eli will be up a tree. So,
Awesome.
and I'm staying in the Trapper.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm staying in that about everywhere I go. If it's going to be a 30 or 40 minute drive to the hotel after church, just give me a 110 plug and a parking spot.
Well, we may have another podcast from the duck camp next weekend, and we'll probably resume here week after next if
Oh, yeah.
we can possibly. So
Oh, we will. That'll be, matter of fact, week after next will be the last day of Mississippi deer hunting.
Yep.
So that would be a great time to end deer season eating a deer heart. Mark
can't
it
wait.
We're
down.
gonna do it.
301 Bray Road, Deer Heart. I may name my restaurant one day the Deer Heart.
All right, guys.
All right.
Enjoy it.
Enjoyed it. See you.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. It's your time now. Be a legend.